Hi, welcome to your first tutorial of CSCI 130, Introduction to Programming. In this session, I want to connect some of the concepts, the basic computing concepts that I asked you to research, to read and pause in your previous discussion session in D12, and connect that to what we want with the rest of the class. As you may know, the main goal of this class is to write computer programs. Okay, so to write those programs, we're going to use a programming language that is called Visual Basic. Visual Basic comes with an IDE. That was one of my questions that I asked you on integrated development environment. And in that, we're going to design GUIs, graphical user interface, which will allow the user to interact with the computer programs that we're going to be writing. So after this tutorial, I'm going to show you how that we're going to actually access Visual Basic, and we're going to be doing start programming those next week. Okay, so let me see if I can go to the next page. I hope. Oh, here. So these are some of the basic concepts that I asked you. I asked you to check on what was a computer. Also, you did an excellent job. I mean, everybody did an excellent job. So the main thing is a computer is going to be a device that is going to process some input given by the user and is going to respond with some output. To be able to interact with the computer, we're going to write a script, a set of instructions that we call a computer program. And that collection of computer programs is what we call software, and the physical device is the computer. These basic computing concepts, this is the only things that we need from chapter 1. I don't really care about other information that they cover in chapter 1. Our goal is to write computer programs. I mean, there is a description of how the computer is divided, how that the smallest piece of information, we call it a bit. And I ask you about languages. The only language that the computer actually understands is the machine language, which is a series of zeros and ones, which represents bits, but it will be very difficult for humans to write. And then, as you may remember, assembly language will be that we group some of those bits into mnemonics and other code to make the programming easier, but it's still not easy enough for a human. And however, engineers use a lot of assembly language when they do the design for the specific devices. In our case, we're going to use a high-level language, which is Visual Basic, that is going to be close enough to the English language that is going to let us to write programs. Now, this is going to be translated into machine language using a compiler. I asked you to research about some of the languages, and you gave me names like Java, like C, Objective-C, Visual Basic, of course, and so on. Now, today we're going to go into the IDE of Visual Basic, and we're going to design our first GUI, and that's what we care about today. So Visual Basic 2010 is the version that we're using. This is the one that is installed in the lab, and that's what we're practicing now. You can download this, or you can go to the Molinero 115, the computer lab in Molinero 115, and we got version 2010. However, maybe some of you may want to download the latest, which is Visual Studio 2012. That's okay with me. I'm just gonna follow with 2010 because that's the textbook that we have, and that's the software that is available for everyone in the here in the university. However, whatever we do in Visual Studio 2010, you should be able to still use it in the version for 2012. Okay, so just to review that, the idea of the integrated development environment is to have to help us in building the program and connecting the interface by basically dragging and dropping some blocks, and also it's going to help us with some code that is already written there. So the idea is that is supposed to make our life easier when we're going to be programming. And today we are going to design our first GUI, and I'm going to show you that in the next video. So let's do that on the next one. So this is it for this one. I don't want to take too long because of the limitations of the space, so I'm gonna try to keep it for about 5 minutes. So please go and check on the next tutorial. That should be another 5 minutes. Thank you.